Lunga, can you assist with just turning the camera a bit more towards Jake? Yeah, thanks.
Who's that? Vata. Yeah.
Lunga, thank you so much, Lunga. Jake, goeiedag sê, welkom terug meneer. Jake, kan ek jou vra, jammer, I need to apologize in advance.
What's that?
Jake, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah. Talk, Percy.
So, Mr. White, I'd like to apologize. We haven't heard most of your press conference. I'm going to probably repeat a number of your questions. Ek wil net jou vra vinnig, eerstens welkom terug meneer. Hoe voel jy eerstens? En tweedens, kan jy die belangrikheid van terugkeer in die span?
Percy, your line is bad. Can I ask you to text me your 2 questions and then Jake will respond. Ashfaq?
Thanks, Lunga. Good morning, Jake. Hope you're well.
Thanks, Ashfaq.
I will ask Percy's first
Good
question.
omen, because usually you ask the first question. Today's the second question. So who knows? Maybe things have changed.
I'll ask Percy's first question there.
Okay.
How are you feeling physically, mentally, everything? Must be really delighted to be back in the hot seat.
Yeah. Ashfaq, I just said now earlier. I mean, I missed it a lot. Wasn't nice watching it from a distance. I'm very healthy. I mean, I'm feeling really good. So first time in a long time, as I said. I mean, just the way it was. I had shingles in the final. Wasn't really, it wasn't at my best. I got COVID over Christmas. So, the first time that I'm sort of going into a big game now where I sort of feel like I'm a little bit more healthy and a little bit more aware of things. So it's, looking forward to it.
Yeah, we saw your statement about how this whole episode has put things in perspective for you, but obviously you'd have been plotting and planning for a while now for this game. We know the last 4 results and all of that in the history. You guys dominated initially and now they've won the last 4. Do you have any special plans? I know you're not going to reveal it now, but have you come up with some trick plays?
Yeah, 40,000 people.
That's your big one.
That's my big one. I got 40,000 people.
Just on your team, Jake, Saboon Kosi, wonderful to see him back. I see Goosen is out for a while with a shoulder, but how's your backline shape?
Yeah, Ashfaq, look, as I said earlier to Kobus, it's not a punishment that you now get a guy like Sabu and he doesn't play for a while because he needs to be punished, because he needs to get back on the horse as soon as possible. He is a good player, he's a World Cup winner. All the signs that I've had since he's been training with the team has been positive. He's one of those guys who just adds energy all the time. I think he'll play well tomorrow. So him, and then the backs, because when you get a guy like him as a World Cup winner and he's been around, he's got some experience. It's also nice for Wandile Simelane to have him around there. And David Kriel's played really a lot of rugby for us at fullback anyway. So it looks like it's a bit of a change, moving him from wing. But let's not forget, for the first 2 years, he was playing at 15 anyway. So we see him as though, we got Morné Steyn and Lionel Maputo, really experienced Springboks on the bench. Ambrose Papier on the bench. So, there's 3 Springboks on the bench. We confident that the makeup of our group is what we need this weekend.
Just finally from me, Jake, what needs to change this time around in terms of how you guys play? We spoke to Chris and Russell in the week and they spoke about the mistakes. It's like you get there and then just the final pass doesn't happen, or you consider a ruck penalty or something, just discipline let you down sometimes. What needs to change this time to get one over the Stormers? Yeah,
look, I think if I summarize everything they said, that's what we need to finish and we need to be accurate. But I think the one thing is we need to play for 80 minutes. We were 13 all in over Christmas and we let them score straight after halftime. They scored 2 quick tries and then the game was gone, So it was a little bit of moment of, I suppose, inaccuracy, a little moment of not concentrating, and then the game was gone, So they are like that. To be fair, the Stormers are like that. They can punish you from anywhere. They've basically swapped Warwick Kalan for Clayton Blommetjies like for like. They've got Marnie's on fire when he's playing really good rugby now. He's been the form fly half, kicking everything over, running, sidestepping. So for me, it's just a simple thing. We've got to just concentrate for 80 minutes, Ashfaq. I think, we're good enough if we play for 80 minutes. We just got to make sure that we switched on for the whole game.
Thanks, Ashfaq. Percy's 2 questions, coach. And
Yeah.
he asks if you can respond in Afrikaans. How big of a challenge does this Thomas side pose at Loftus this time around?
Ja, maklike vraag, Percy. Ek weet nie wat hulle span is nie, so ek kan nie vir jou daai antwoord. Ek weet nie wat se span kom nie. Maar hulle is 'n goeie span. I mean, hulle is die URC kampioene. Hulle het diepte, dis dieselfde afrigtings groep met Dobson, Norman Lyke en Davie Snyman wat nou deur die jare met die juniors en seniors gewerk het. So ek dink van al die groepe, ek dink van al die URC spanne is hulle die afrigtings wat die langste met daai unie was. So I mean dit beteken baie en ek dink jy kan maar sien, dis hoekom hulle jy weet soveel jong spelers deurbring en dis hoekom hulle span lyk asof hulle elke week al maak hulle veranderings dat hulle ten minste goeie rugby speel. So ja, ek sê dit, ek weet nie wie kom nie, ek weet nie hoe lyk hulle span nie, maar ek dink nog steeds gaan hulle nog steeds 'n baie ervare goeie span wees.
Are you confident that Sbu is in a good or proper mental state to
Yeah.
play at this level so soon after his break?
Ja, so op Cebu en Kosi, en daar is nie 'n gegeewe tyd wat hy van die game af moet wees nie. Maar as jy dink, ek weet dit was 'n besering geweest, maar Sanatle was 4 maande uit met 'n besering, toe kom hy terug, toe speel hy redelik goed in die eerste naweek. So weet ek dink is 'n ander probleem. Ek praat nou oor depressie en daai dis nie 'n besering nie, maar nog steeds hy's uit die game uit. Ek is sonder twyfel met sy tyd saam met die span die laaste 10 dae is hy's bereid om te speel. Hy wil speel, hy wil graag speel en ek dink hy gaan goed vir ons wees môre.
That's their squad.
So they're resting everybody.
All right, cool. Simon?
Thanks, Lunga. Jake, I'm glad you're back and good luck. Yeah. Listen, Jake, you probably did answer that when we were muted. But just for clarity's sake, if I remember correctly, on the 1st of November 2020, you played the Stormers at Loftus, and that there was that hell of a thunderstorm, and you were ahead 39-6, and that was about 62nd minute. And obviously there was a lot of talk afterwards. It is obviously important if we look at the weather and all the conditions of the weather, and that the same applies. By halftime, you have to have your plan A, plan B, plan C in place.
Yes. So Simon, it's a very good question. So what was the score after 60 minutes?
It was 39-6.
Okay. They beat us the last 4 times. That's what we all hear. But anyway, that's so 39-6. And I think it was probably 39-6 after about 45 minutes as well. So we didn't score for a while at the back end of that game. But the interesting thing is, just for the reporters and for the journalists to understand, is in Currie Cup, you got to get, there was a Currie Cup game actually, if I remember. It was a Currie Cup game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Okay,
it was, yeah.
So Currie Cup, it's 40 minutes, and in URC, it's 60 minutes. So the game has to go to 60 minutes for it to have a result, which is a bit different. So obviously, they've got to get to a 60-minute cutoff time. So we get to halftime, and the thunder and lightning comes, and the game's obviously called off unless we can get on the field in 30 minutes. If it gets to 60 minutes and the rain and thunder comes, then the game will stay as it was, and the result will stay as it was after 60 minutes. So it's a good question that you ask.
Thanks, Jake. I'm covered. Good luck.
Good.
Cool. Thanks, Simon. Percy, that's an old hand. Ashfaq, follow up.
Jack, what do you expect from the Stormers? I've sent a team there, and obviously they're missing the Springboks. But they do have Mani Labok at the fly off.
So is he not a Springbok?
And I'm just saying of the
And Herschel Yankee is not a Springbok. Herschel Yankee is not a Springbok. Scarlett Tabeni not a Springbok. No. Joseph Dweba not a Springbok. Okay, so they're missing, yeah. Okay. So yeah, look, I mean, I was going to repeat myself, Ashfaq. I mean, it's a good team. Last week that team killed the Sharks. Everyone thought the Sharks would give them a go. I mean, they proved they were it was one-sided, you know. So, and they're playing well. I mean, they've obviously what Dobson's done well is he's kept the core group together, you know. So he's changed the hookers, but he's got Dweba He's kept the number 8 that played well last week. He kept the number 9 and 10, and he's kept the 15, which is generally what good teams do. Is if you look at all the best teams in the world, 2, 8, 9, 10, 15 are generally the core of the team. You look at, whether it was Uli Schmidt, Naas Botha, Tommy du Plessis, Johan Jennis, or whether you look at the province sides that had that, Rob Lowe at 8 and Sean Povey, and I look at all those derby games, Carlos Schultz at fullback, and so there's no different. I think what obviously what's happened here is they've mixed and matched, but they've made sure that the sort of spine of the team stays strong, and that's worked for them. It's worked for them in terms of getting. And I don't want to take anything away from them. They are the current champions. They've got it right. They haven't lost for a long time. They've obviously got something that's going well. But one thing I do know about sport, it's like anything. It goes on highs and lows. And when you're on the top, you must enjoy it, because inevitably all teams have a patch where they struggle as well. I mean, it happens to any sporting team, happens to top sportsmen. So I'll go back to what I said. Tomorrow, we've got a great opportunity at home, lots of people, lots of supporters. And a must-win game for, and I can tell you whenever I've pushed the button with this Bulls team and they've had to put their sort of backs to the wall, they've produced. So tomorrow is just another challenge.
Just finally, Jake, do you sometimes, the Stormers thrive on counter-attack as well? You give them the ball kind of thing. You sometimes have to box clever as well and not give them those kind of opportunities and see what they're about. Because if you're just going to play into their hands, then they know what to do.
Yeah, look, Ashfaq, I'm sure you can't just give them the ball. I mean, they've got some those outside backs are good and they can counter-attack. And so, I mean, we've got to have a plan. But don't forget, altitude. I know you don't know about altitude, but if you hit a golf ball or kick a rugby ball at altitude, it goes a little bit further than when you kick it at sea level.
Pravata?
Jake, welcome back. Jake, a lot of people may not get the context to understand how big a North-South derby is. In your time at Loftus, how big have you found the occasion between Bulls and Stormers derby? How big has it been? Because no one's really talking about the Lions and Sharks this weekend. Everyone's just talking about the North-South derby.
Yeah, Vata, look, I mean, I've got to be careful what I answer now, but because I don't want it to be misinterpreted. But in my time, the biggest games we've had have been against the Sharks. We played them in Currie Cup final twice. We won with a drop kick in the quarterfinals of the URC. So, I mean, it's not, but what I am getting back to is I just sense that this one is a little bit like it used to be. I just get the sense that this derby is like it was when I was a youngster. It's got North-South. It's got lots on it. It's got crowds coming. It's got the makings of being a classic again. Our backs are against the wall, Vata. I'm going to say it to you over and over. We've lost 4 times. That's all I hear all the time. We lost 4 times, never beat them in URC. So this is it. This is where we're going to get measured. And I mean, if I look back at old Bulls teams with Bierman van Sail and those guys, and I look at, then we'll have to go back and learn from those guys, the Frick du Preez and the Naas Bothas and the Burger Geldenhuisers, and we're going to try our best to make our supporters proud tomorrow. And that's all I can guarantee is we're going to play as well as we can, try as hard as we can, and give the North-South derby the kudos it deserves, because in my time, this is the biggest North-South derby since I've been involved with the Bulls.
And then, Jake, a word on a guy like Monestan, who's, if he comes on, will make his 150th appearance.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I mean, and I was thinking about it this morning. I just want to make sure everyone understands, Vata, there's not his 150th game. I think it's about his 270th game for the Bulls. It's a 150th game, only Super Rugby and URC. So in itself just proves just how experienced he's been and how important he is for the group. So, but then saying that, and I'm not taking any away from his achievement, but you look at the captain of Cardiff, I think he's on 300 games. You look at the Flower from Connacht, he's on 250 games. And I think he broke a record the other day, most points scored by a Connacht player ever. So there's so many things that we can still catch up those other teams overseas. My job as director of rugby is to try and keep, no greater pleasure for me, Vata, in 3-4 years' time to say, Ruan Nokia, 140th game for the, Mornay Smith, 100th game, Grobler, 100th game. If we get to that, then at least we're giving, then we're going to where I would suggest I would love the Bulls to get to in the next couple of years. So I'm not taking away from Mornay. It's fantastic to have him the 150th game, Super Rugby and URC. And I'm sure that, who knows, maybe that experience is going to be needed in the last 10, 15 minutes of tomorrow's game in front of 40,000 people, which we all know he does really well.
And then last check from my side, just your expectation from Sheep.
Yeah, look, I said it just now, but I mean, Sheep, I knew him from a young guy. He was with me at Montpellier. He's grown. I mean, he's grown. Obviously, he's old now. He's married with 2 kids, so his life's changed. But I'm still looking for that little spark, and I'm hoping that giving him this chance after such a long way out of rugby because through injury, that tomorrow that's the little sort of spark I need, because if it ignites, it's going to have a massive effect on our pack, especially with guys like Eldrich and Carl Brink and those sort of players. So yeah, that's his job tomorrow is to be that spark and to be that bundle of energy that wants to play rugby.
Oh, and lastly, sorry, Jake, just looking at the makeup of your pack, is that to take them to a very dark place and painful place? Because it seems like quite an abrasive pack.
Well, I mean, nothing's changed since I've ever watched Northern Transvaal rugby. That's what happens when you come to Loftus. It's a hell of a dark place. It's on altitude and it gets tough. And, that's part of our DNA, but I'm not going to apologize for that. That's one of the brief that we have when I took this job. Blue Bulls rugby, the DNA of Blue Bulls rugby or Northern Trans rugby is, the tougher it is, the tougher we got to be. So, I'm going to apologize for that. If you see it like that, fantastic. I haven't looked carefully at their team, but it's not a 6-2 bench, is it? No, it's not a 6-2 bench. I don't know, but I didn't see their team. But anyway,
No, I think it is. I think it is.
Is it a 6-2 bench?
Yes, it is
Yeah,
6-2.
It's Paul de Vet and Sasha.
Okay, which again, Ashfaq, I know you're listening. Well, then then we're doing our job right, because if they bring 6 forwards to fight the Bulls back, then at least we know we're doing something right.
Thanks,
Dylan?
I'm
Dylan?
all covered. Thanks, Lunga.
Okay. All right, cool. Guys on the floor, everybody happy?
Yes.